Well, good evening and welcome to Co-Creating the New Earth Together. Come and join me as we meet Claire Johnson, who's going to tell us all about the Bridge Wellness Garden. So, hello, Claire.
Hi, Jack.
Tell me more about this concept of a wellness garden.
So initially, we set up it was a farm essentially to provide jobs for the long-term unemployed and give training opportunities. But that's evolved over the years. So not only do we grow fruit and vegetables, we also like to say that we grow better lives. So the wellness gardens came along to help youngsters with quite severe learning difficulties and people with mental health issues. And then that evolved again, and it started to be more of a community-based project. And then we started to reduce social isolation in the over 50s. And now it's a hub of activity for anyone that just wants to get involved and wants to be part of an old-fashioned community, doing things in the old-fashioned way.
So, is it a community garden?
It is, yes. So we've got both.
So, what's the relationship between the farm and the garden?
So the farm is there because we've got a small business attached to it, which helps us subsidise the fees that people would have to pay to come and use the wellness gardens. So that's why the farm's there essentially. And because we grow organically produced fruit and veg, it does quite well. So we probably do about 150 boxes a week that we go out and deliver with volunteers. And that subsidises the fees for the wellness gardens.
So, do you supply households or other charities or what?
We do. So we are massive on food insecurity and food poverty down where we are. So we supply other charities. We do women's refuge, which is a big thing, local refugee centres and the homeless especially. So we work with lots of homeless charities. And they're now coming along and using our commercial kitchen facilities to cook for the homeless, and then we ship it out in the evenings.
Sounds brilliant. Right, I've got some pictures that you sent me that I'm going to flash up on the screen. And maybe you can just tell me what's going on in the pictures.
Sure. So this area is our soft fruit area, and it's our seeding tunnel as well. So this is a huge part of the wellness gardens. We support youngsters that don't do well in a standard curriculum environment. I was one of those children. So we get them along and we work outdoors with them. And seeding is the first thing that we teach anyone that comes along to join us, how to effectively seed and bring those seedlings on and water, etc. And then potting them on and then getting them out into the field or the polytunnels, ready to grow a bit further.
Yeah, it's important to teach kids, isn't it? Schools don't do that.
No, I mean, they're getting better. Over the last few years, we've been involved more and more with the schools because they want gardening facilities the same as what we offer. But we do this project called Wellies to Bellies, which is specifically for children.
Well, it's
Uh,
for what?
Wellies to Bellies.
Okay, yeah.
So it's the children's version of Field to Fork.
Mm.
So we get youngsters in and we talk about how we grow food and why we grow food, and the process that goes into it and why bees are important and insects. And we teach them to grow, but then we take it right the way through to feeding their tummies as well. And then we go a little bit further. So we've got a skeleton on site called Monty Bone Jingles. And he teaches
Say again what it's called.
Monty Bone Jingles.
Okay, yeah.
And he's an anatomically correct skeleton with all the gubbins inside. And we get him out along with one of our volunteer doctors, and we talk about how your food interacts with your body.
Mm.
So the kids are getting the whole experience. We give them seeds and plants to take home. We grow sunflowers and we measure them against the children and take competitions, all the way down to building a wormery and things like that, so the kids can get involved in other ways as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Wish we'd had something like that when I was a kid.
Oh, me too. So this photograph that you can see now is one of our youngsters, Christopher. He's got a global learning difficulty, and Chris has been employed with us for the last 4.5 years. And Chris was quite limited in his capacity when he started with us. But now Chris can service his rotavator and his lawnmower. He's got his own 90-foot polytunnel that he cultivates.
Incredible.
As well as going into the kitchen and cooking his own bacon sandwich on Fat Friday mornings. So he likes to do that.
Yeah, that's lovely for kids, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So this is actually Chris's polytunnel that you can see now. He's got some bull's blood chard in there and some spinach, and you can see some broad beans growing there. So we try to choose plants that can put nutrients back into the earth. We also use the no dig method. So we just recompost and then let it all warm down, etc. And then we replant again. And we find this works quite well. We don't get half as much trouble with weeds, etc.
Do you bring compost in from outside, or horse manure, or anything like that?
We do. So we've got a really good supply of this, which is free to us. We just have to pay for the haulage essentially. But it's all organic, so it's all certified organic, which is really important to us. Well, look at this. This was part of the beginning of our growing season last year. We got some beautiful moneymaker tomatoes there, some sunstripe courgettes, and some beautiful spinach leaf. And we grow things that we can essentially put in our boxes, but also that we can and preserve later on in the year. If we get an abundance, then we can make sauces, ketchups, preserves, etc., which is really good because we're storing and stocking the produce for the rest of the year. We don't waste anything. Sorry, I'm a bit fidgety.
That's all right. That's all right. They can't see you at the moment. They can only see the slides.
Oh, right, okay. So that's one of our beautiful giant Russian sunflowers that the children grew in one of the polytunnels. And we've also started to grow hydroponically as well, Jack, because we just think we need to find sustainable ways of feeding ourselves within the future. And this was a, excuse me, this was a trial project, sort of a pilot scheme, where we have recycled all the materials to make the hydroponics unit. And we've been doing that now for about 2 years. And tomatoes and lettuce have been our first crop, and we've harvested those this year with the promise to grow microgreens and other delicate vegetables that we can sell on to make the profit, to reduce the fees for the guys that need to come and use the wellness gardens.
Do you want to say a little bit more about hydroponics?
Yeah, so if for people that don't know, hydroponics is growing without soil. And it's nutrient-rich water, which the what are they called? The roots even, they go down and they sit in the water, and the plant gains nutrients from that way. It needs specific amount of light, red and blue lights. Each crop has their own specific variety of lights that they need, or combination. And we can harvest a lettuce 6-7 times through hydroponic growing. So it's really sustainable.
So if the roots are in water all the time, what stops them rotting?
It's a constant trickle of water, so it's filtered and drained all the time. So it constantly passes through and underneath the plant, which then goes to the end of the troughs. It gets filtered through a UV system, and then it's repumped back round.
So would you say that's the future?
I think it's some way to go, yes. I mean, NASA have built something like this. They've got a huge wall. But we need to be sustainable, and this is one of the ways that we can do that.
What are the advantages and disadvantages between hydroponics and permaculture?
Well, that's not an easy question to answer. We could be here for quite a while. As I
We've
said,
got all day.
it's a pilot scheme for us, and we're all for new innovations and being able to teach somebody a new skill, which this hydroponics unit is for us. I prefer soil, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. I like to feel the soil within my fingers, but I think whatever we can do to sustain our habitat and our persons is a good thing. The nutrients that go through are organic nutrients. We don't use anything that's artificial. We use natural clay balls for the plants to sit in as the roots start to grow down. I just think it's the way forward. We're ready to move into aquaponics as well, where we use fish and then we grow on top of those tanks. But that's a little way off yet.
Okay. Sounds all very exciting.
It is. Well, this is the view from my office. I've got a sustainable wooden log cabin as my office. And I'm lucky this is my view of an evening. So I just thought I'd like to share that with you because it makes me feel like a very lucky lady.
And what's the building on the right?
That's the Better Life Centre. So that's a building where we've got our commercial kitchen and cafe tea rooms that we provide lunches for the homeless. All our volunteers get fed when they're on site, and our clients with no charge. We use the products that we've got, so we're practically a meatless cafe, which is really good. And it's just a lovely place to be, Jack.
It sounds it. I'll have to take a trip up to the Wirralls. Where exactly is it?
So we're just on the outskirts of Chester. So we're on the border of Chester and the Wirral and the Welsh coast as well.
Okay.
Just outside Ellesmere Port. We're in the middle of a huge social housing estate with quite a high deprivation rate. But we are a solid community base within that. We look after them, they look after us.
Lovely. Right, I think that's all the pictures that we've got to go through.
Yeah.
So what got you involved in it in the first place?
Oh, well, it's quite a story, actually. I moved to the Northwest because I met a wonderful gentleman that took my heart. Previously, I'd worked in the Midlands as a mental health worker, and I'd been attacked while I was working within a secure unit, and really thought it's time to get out of this business. I've been doing mental health for a very long time, especially challenging behaviour. So when I moved up here, I didn't know what to do. So I took a job, a part-time job in a very large German supermarket, but within their retail distribution centre. And it got quite stressful, actually. So something that started off as quite a small task and job ended up being this huge role that I didn't really want.
Yeah.
And was quite stressful. And Bridge Community Farm had literally just turned their first sod of ground. And it came up on an internet feed. Could you volunteer to help us? And my partner, Mike, said, this is right up your alley. You know, this is back to the land, working with adults with learning difficulties, people with mental health issues, long-term unemployed. Why don't you give them a call? So I did. And I went and met the founder, who has since left us. And I got sort of roped in quite quickly. So the first time I went to volunteer, I ended up with 5 lovely young adults with learning difficulties. And I just thought, I'm back where I belong. So off I goes to the big German supermarket and said to my ex-boss, okay, I need to do this project. What do I do to get every Wednesday off? Otherwise, you're going to get a sick note for stress. I can't do both. I need to quiet my mind a little bit, I think. And he came back to me a couple of hours later and he said, okay, you can take every Wednesday off. So
Great.
that's what I did.
Mm.
And 6 weeks later, they asked me to be a coordinator there. So I said yes. I took a pay cut because I'm not all about the money. I'm about health and well-being and my own personal mental health. And that's what I did. So off I went. And we'd got a field. We'd got 10 acres of school playing fields to deal with. We'd got a few polytunnels and not a lot of anything else. I had no running water or no running hot water, no toilet facilities, no heating, no light, nothing. I used to have to drive home for a wee. That's how bad it was. But we've evolved from that now to having permanent buildings, running hot water, 3 flushing toilets, and lots of people that want to come along and join us. So it's just evolved, and it's such a nice place now. There's a sense of calm there, Jack, and everyone feels that once they walk through the gates. So I'm quite proud of that.
Well, I'll have to come up and visit you one day. It sounds excellent.
Yes, do so.
So how long's it been running?
We're in our 7th year now on site, and the plan has always been to move the model to other deprived areas of Cheshire West, actually. And I think we're not far off from going on to a second site. But I just want to be perfect in the one that we do. So it needs to be,
Excuse me.
everyone needs to be happy and comfortable where they are before we can move the model forward. There's lots of lessons that have been learnt along the way and things that we could have done differently. But I'm all for the learning. If there's a lesson to be learned, I'm there.
So you're full-time there, Claire, are you now?
Yes, I am.
You've left the supermarket.
Oh, yes. Many years ago now.
Big sigh of relief, I can see.
Ah, it was so nice just to get back to fresh air. So in the distribution centre, there was very little daylight. Now, as you can quite clearly see, I'm not a vampire. I like sunlight. I like my vitamin D.
Yeah.
And I love to be outside with the guys. Sunshine on your face is the most wonderful thing in the world. So yes, I am so glad I left.
Now, we've just started a community garden here in Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the first year. Well, we're in the first couple of months.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to somebody starting a community garden?
Run. No, just stick at it. It's really important. There are going to be lots of little niggles and people are going to start bickering and I want to do this and I want to do that. But I think if we just set a few boundaries to start with, someone's got to take charge of the project so you can move it forward. There needs to be someone there to drive it forward. But more than anything, I think you just need to be kind to each other, because I think once you've got that ethic, everything else just sort of falls into place. And I know it sounds all artsy-fartsy, but that's what it is. If you can treat people the same way you'd like to be treated, you just get on much nicer. Everybody just muddles along. And you're going to make mistakes. We've made a hell of a lot of mistakes. But we've done lots of giggling along the way. You can't ask for more than that, Jack.
What's the key to keeping everybody on board, keeping everybody working together?
Tea.
Sorry?
Tea.
Teeth?
Tea. Drinking tea.
Tea.
Yeah.
Tea. Okay.
A good brew and a box of biscuits helps everyone along. We talk to each other all the time. Our communication's really, really good. And that's between all of us. So it's not always verbal communication, it's body language. Some of the youngsters that we have at the farm are non-verbal. But I can tell you now, Jack, you put a youngster in a wheelbarrow and wheel them around the farm for 20 minutes really fast, and they will come out with a smile on the face. It's little things like that. But lots of tea and lots of talking.
Now, you do other things there as well, don't you? Because 2 or 3 weeks ago, probably longer, I lose track of time, I had Libby Every on here,
Yeah.
and she rents a yurt, isn't it, or something from you?
It's a geodesic dome. So
Okay.
we've had this structure for many years. It was one of the first structures that we had on the farm. So originally it was for crafts, and we'd do story time in there with the children, and we would do singing classes and all sorts of stuff. But as we've progressed, I mean, I'm quite a spiritual person. And I like to do sound therapy, etc. So when I met Libby, we met through Reiki and Reiki healing, and just general spirituality. And me and Libby just hit it off, instantly. We've got lots in common. So yes, Libby's doing mindfulness and meditation and Reiki in there. I'll continue to do sound therapy and sound healing in there. But we do sensory stuff as well. So we've just got some money to get lots of sensory lights and equipment in there. So it's a safe, calm space, and it's just beautiful. I'm a bit biased, but it is beautiful.
You just have some sound bowls, haven't you? Some Tibetan healing bowls.
Yes. So we've played the Tibetan healing bowls for quite a while. But I've just invested in 7 chakra crystal bowls.
Okay, yeah.
See, it's been a little bit of a layout, but I think it's essential. The resonance from these bowls is unbelievable. And the acoustics within the Geodesic Dome as well are phenomenal. You literally just hit it gently and it doesn't stop resonating. It's beautiful, the most beautiful sound. So yes, that's what we're going to be doing in there.
So there's a different one for each chakra, is that right?
Yeah, there's different notes for different vibrations. And they start off with these huge base root chakra ones, and then they go up to quite small for the crown chakras, etc. And I'm just learning all of this as well. So it's really useful for me. So me and Libby are learning together.
There's been comments here, and I'm afraid I've
I've
missed
them as well.
I've been
too busy yapping.
Can you read them out for me? Because I'm a bit...
So this is from Heidi Strickland. She said, I would love to be in your
Hello, Heidi.
I would love to be in your wellness garden. If only you weren't so far away. Blessings to you and all the garden offers in help for all. Thank you, Heidi. That's a lovely comment.
Yeah, Heidi's all the way from Texas.
Oh, I've just employed a grower from Chicago.
Or is it Arizona? I get confused between Texas and Arizona. It's one of those two anyway.
We wish you were closer to Heidi. We've also got a message from Teapot Pixie.
Ah, right. Well, that's my friend Paul.
Hi, Paul.
What's he got to say for himself?
He says, this sounds all fantastic.
It does, Paul, doesn't it? Yeah. Because Paul's doing something similar in Essex.
Oh, wow. Okay. Maybe we could have a chat, Paul.
Sorry?
We could have a chat, Paul, and swap notes.
Yeah, you want to put you two together. But yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. We've got other friends in other parts of the country that are doing similar things as well. So yeah. Right.
Yeah, it'd be good for everyone to sort of meet up, wouldn't it?
Heidi
says she's definitely from Arizona.
Heidi's from Arizona. So I keep saying Texas. Heidi was on this show last Friday, and I kept saying Texas instead of Arizona. I'm sorry. I get mixed up. I've never been to either, so I get mixed up.
Heidi's also said that she'd love to do some poetry in our bit of nature. So that's another thing that we're really involved in, Heidi. We work with a local theatre company, and they work with the gay community and young children that, they're changing their identity. And they come along every year, and we do open air productions for Shakespeare. And they write their own plays as well. So they come along and do that on site in our gardens, which is absolutely lovely. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. So while I've got you on, I really want to pick your brains about permaculture.
Okay, it's not something I'm great on. You would have probably been better talking to one of my colleagues, Keith. He's my head grower, and he's far more into all the technicalities that I am. I'm into growing people.
Okay.
But
Right
it's
now, I've been
important.
asked to share. I've been asked to share Teresa Fox's details with you.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll send you her details afterwards,
Thank you, Jack.
and if the two of you can get your heads together, that'd be fantastic.
Cool. I'm lagging behind a little bit here, I think. You still there, Jack? Aha, good. Well, I suppose I could keep on waffling about the farm and the wellness gardens. So not only do we grow fruit and veg there, we pass it out to the public. We work with lots of local food charities. So we don't believe that anyone should go hungry, especially children. So we get local families in and we teach them how to cook, and it may be something basic as a vegetable soup. But we like to get the mums and dads involved as well. And this is working out really well for us at the moment. So our cafe is being rebranded and it will be ran by youngsters with quite challenging behaviour or people with learning difficulties. And that's how a cafe should be run for us on our site. So they will learn cooking skills and health and hygiene, and they will get customer service skills, and they'll be waiting on, and they'll be doing all sorts of stuff, as well as the business part of running a cafe. And it's really important that we do that. But we run over 50s clubs as well within that cafe. And we reduce social isolation. So we can do everything from African drumming, we do armchair yoga, arts and crafts, knit and natter, more natter than knit. But nevertheless, they still really enjoy it. The African drumming session was a fabulous affair. We had a 92-year-old lady that picked the tallest drum you've ever seen in your living days with the biggest sticks and battered 7 shades out of it, but she was enjoying herself nevertheless. Can everyone still hear me? Because I feel like I'm waffling along for nothing. There you go, Jack.
I'm sorry about that, everybody. I lost my internet connection. I'm now
It's
on.
all right. I've been waffling.
I'm now on a mobile hotspot, so these things happen. So what have you been talking about while I've been away?
Oh, I've been talking about our over 50s clubs with the African drumming sessions.
Okay, yeah.
So we do a wide range of activities with them. But I was just laughing about a 92-year-old lady who was very tiny that picked the largest and tallest drum and decided to knock 7 shades out of it while she was having a go.
Oh,
Which
lovely.
was hilarious. It was great stuff. But we do armchair yoga with people as well. We've got 6 ladies, elderly ladies, using the hand drill and making wooden reindeers at Christmas time and Christmas decorations for the tree. We just like to pass all our knowledge on and all of our skills. And it doesn't matter how old you are or how young you are, you can still learn a little bit of something.
I think I might be moving up to the Wirral just to take part in your over 50s club.
Good. Plenty of room for you, Jack.
Yeah. So what were we talking about before I got cut off? We were talking about permaculture, weren't we?
Permaculture. Yes. Yeah.
So
So
do you use
we use. Go on.
sorry,
Sorry.
carry on.
So we use the no dig method, as I spoke about earlier on. We're quite keen on not tilling the soil, not causing any damage to nature. Where we're positioned, we've got quite a lot of wildlife. So we're next to a local brook and stream. So we keep bees on site as well. So we get lots of wildlife around. And we're keen to keep it there. So we've got some staff that have built hedgehog boxes. Can I read this comment?
Please.
So Heidi says, this is so wonderful. Information is power in being in nature and learning where our food really comes from beyond the grocery store to take care of our Earth Mother below our feet. I couldn't agree more. There's
Absolutely,
nothing worse
Heidi.
than asking children where your food comes from and they tell you that it's from the local supermarket.
The biggest problem that we have today, or one of the big problems that we have today, is people have lost their connection with Mother Earth.
Very much so. Very much so.
We lead such plastic lives.
Well, we live in this disposable world at the moment, don't we? Where everything's throwaway. And no one's taking any pride in what they've got. We're very much make do amend where we are. We recycle what we've got. So we were kindly donated 2 log cabins to do some activities in with mums with mental health issues. Now, unfortunately, when we had the last storm, they blew down. They weren't completed and we got storm damage. So instead of wasting those materials, what we've done is the Geodesic Dome that Libby and I use for the meditation, etc. We've built a raised floor with the wood from those buildings, and all the insulation has come from the hydroponics unit that we couldn't use in there. So we've recycled and repurposed things. The doors from the old buildings will go on to some small buildings that we're going to make for the youngsters so they can grow their own food in there, so they can have some raised beds. So everything is repurposable for us. But I feel that we're in a world where you can throw everything away. You know, it doesn't matter. No one cares because it's all right. We can get a new one. I'm not about that. I like to utilize what we've got.
Yeah, me too. I've got a bit of a fight going on at the moment with my lot because there's a very, very old shed out there. And it's, apart from the roof, it's solid.
Yeah.
And they all want to pull it down and replace it. And I want to make the old one good.
So is that shed not part of that land? It's supposed to be there. So let's fix it up instead of knocking it down and changing the land completely.
That's what I want to do with it. I want to fix it up. But everyone's saying, no, it's old. We'll put it down and put up a new one. And I'm thinking, oh, what's the point? You know, There's so
Yeah.
much waste that goes on this planet.
I agree. We
So what do you
wouldn't.
think?
Sorry,
No, carry on.
I was going to say we wouldn't get rid of a person that was older because they were a bit worn on the outside, would we?
I think we're heading that way.
Not why I'm still alive, Jack.
So what do you think about raised beds?
I love raised beds. So I think it's fantastic. So again, you're not tilling the soil, you're composting. And because of the demographic of the people that we deal with as well, it's essential. So we build raised beds for disabled people. So we've got them that are quite high that you can put wheelchairs under with little tables on, so you can put your cup of tea and your tools. And then we've got smaller ones that are sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? A scaffold plank deep, but are just 1.5 meters wide. So you're not killing your back when you get across, when you're hoeing, etc. I think they're the way forward. It contains the crops as well. Especially if you're planting herbs with mint, you know what mint's like, it just goes like wildfire.
No, you can't put mint in the open ground
No, it's a pot.
uncontained.
Yeah.
It'll take over the whole plot.
Very much so, yeah.
Although I have actually managed to kill mint.
And maybe I don't need you on the farm then, Jack.
Not very often, but once I did manage to kill mint. Unintentionally. It just got too wet, and it just got too wet one winter, and it just rotted.
Yeah, it does from the bottom, doesn't it? It would come back though.
It didn't.
It
did for several years, and then it said no. I'm not playing anymore.
Oh, you really must have damaged it.
The other thing I love to grow is native plants such as dandelion and although it's not a native, I love to grow nasturtium for food.
Yeah, me too. So I love dandelions. I like the greens. I like to put them in cooking all the time. We also make salves from the dandelion flowers.
You make what?
A salve that you pop on your skin.
Yeah.
So it's really good for gardeners' hands, dry hands, and it covers all the cracks up. So we try and use as much as we can.
Oh, I've not heard of that one. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
So it works a bit like aloe vera, does it?
Very much so. So we sort of melt it down just with some paraffin wax.
Yeah.
And you sort of steep the leaves within the paraffin wax, and then let it go firm into little pots, and then you can just rub it on your skin. It's really good.
Well, the other thing I love to have is a nettle patch.
Nettles, yes.
Nettles.
Yeah.
You cut them right down, and then when they regrow, you pick the freshest leaves, the freshest young leaves, and they're delicious.
I love wild greens. I make a beautiful spanakopita from wild greens. I just love anything like that. Do you grow comfrey at all?
We haven't at the moment got any, but I am hoping to get some.
Yeah,
so we're only in our first couple of months.
Yeah, get some comfrey plants because it's really good as a fertilizer for afterwards as well, for when you're growing other things. I just love to grow everything. I'm a massive foodie. As you can see by the size of me, I'm not a lettuce eater. I like food, and I like good food, and I like to grow good food. So that's me.
Do you have any animals on this farm?
I've got a few cats, a fox, and lots of hedgehogs, but I've got no livestock.
Are you vegetarian?
I'm not. I eat more vegetables than I do meat. I tend to eat only white meat, but I'm getting there slowly.
Yeah, I'm not 100% vegetarian. I'm sort of 95% vegetarian.
Yeah.
But I do like. In fact, I think it's important to get some animal fats down you.
Yeah.
For health.
Yes. I do eat a little bit dairy. Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't possibly give up cheese.
No, me either. I do like cheese.
So what do you put underneath your compost in the raised beds? Cardboard?
Cardboard, yeah. So because Sometimes we have to buy in produce from other organic growers. We're part of a cooperative as well, which is really good. Our stuff comes in cardboard, so we keep it, and we ask the local community to keep their cardboard as well, and they bring it in, and that's what we do. We lay it down, manure, maybe sometimes some wood chips as well, and then the compost on the top, so it's got some good heat generating underneath, and then we cover it in plastic, which we keep. So we can either plant directly through the plastic, or we can lift it up and then grow zigzag, if that means anything to you. And we can just grow straight into that compost.
How do you grow potatoes? Open ground?
Yes. So we do, if we do Cheshire Earlies, because they're quite popular up here, we tend to plant those in the polytunnel. And we can plant them on the same way that we would any other way, which is the compost bed. But we can plant them outside as well. But I don't grow many potatoes, if I'm perfectly honest. Our land's not really suited to it.
Right. Heavy clay, are you?
Really heavy clay, yeah.
I've gardened because I'm a bit of a nomad. I keep moving around. Most of my gardens have been heavy clay.
Yeah.
And I don't mind heavy clay. It's full of nutrients. It's good. And you can do something with it.
Yeah, I mean, we don't suffer. But what we try and do is we grow crops that suit our land. You know, we don't want to cause any damage to what we've got and where we are. For instance, we grow particularly good carrots. I don't know why, but we do. And we will grow the original carrot, so the purple carrot.
Oh yeah, yeah. Where do you get the seed for that?
We've got an organic supplier. They're called King Seeds.
Right.
I can get you some organic seeds for that. Don't worry. Then we grow the rainbow carrots as well. So the red devils, the white satins, the yellow stones, and we grow carrots very, very well. What we don't grow.
Can you give me the link for King Seeds, and I'll put it below in the description?
Yeah, sure thing.
After the show.
Yeah, of course. I'll put all our suppliers up that we use for seeds. But yeah, so we grow things like that. I mean, one of our other things that grows really well on our farm is Cavolo Nero. So the black cabbage.
Okay.
It looks like it's long kale. So it looks like a very long kale plant. And if I'm perfectly honest, we can grow that as well as we can grow weeds. It comes up just as quick as well. And it's so tasty. So just what I wanted to say as well, before I forget, because I'm getting old and I've got this menopausal brain that things disappear from quite quickly.
If you're old, what am
I? Every week I send out recipes to people, and I make them use that. Well, I give them ideas how to use the whole product. So don't waste your peelings. We make parsnip crisps and vegetable crisps out of our peelings. We make beetroot top pesto. Radish leaf pesto. So everything that we grow, I give the whole instruction how to use the whole product, and I think that's important because we're quite. I've seen people where I could peel their potato peelings, which is wrong.
I never peel potatoes.
I very rarely do.
I never do. I just wash them and cut them up and put them in a stew or whatever I'm making.
Yeah, perfect.
I can't see any point in peeling them.
No, even mashed potatoes, roast them in the oven first, bake the potatoes and fetch the skins out. Eat the skins for something else with another meal. You know, it's changing the way that we think about food and how we utilize the product that we've got. And I know it's difficult in a world where everything's quite fast food and the throwaway culture that we've got. But I think if we could get back a little bit, you know, rewind the wheels of time and get back to let's cook a meal every day. It doesn't come out of a packet. Food comes from the ground. You know, if you're going to eat an animal, be aware that it's running around somewhere before you think about eating it. Make sure it's had a good life. It's been well tended and well cared for. but most of all, it's been slaughtered with care. That's how I like to live.
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, back in the days, I haven't killed anything for many years, but back in the days when I used to, I always used to make sure it was killed humanely,
Yeah.
and I'd always say a little prayer over it,
Yeah.
thanking it for its sacrifice and wishing it well on its journey.
That's right. And I would much rather have a very small piece of protein that's been ethically looked after than a cheap chicken that's cost £2 that's been pumped full of water and additives and has not had a good life.
Yeah.
You know, and as you say, we're sacrificing them to eat, so it's only fair that we should give them a decent life.
Yeah, I mean, it's who we are. I mean, we are omnivores. We've evolved as omnivores. We haven't evolved to be 100% meat plant eaters. Although, as I say, my diet now is predominantly plant based. But I think we're doing ourselves a disservice if we rely entirely on plant fats. I mean, you can do an awful lot with nuts and coconuts and things like that. But I don't think you can replace all of the animal fats that you need with plant fats.
No, not at all. I mean, I'm a big pulse eater, so I eat lots of chickpeas and beans and lentils, etc. Much to the upset of my other half because it makes me very windy.
Too much information, Claire.
Sorry, just thought I'd share that with you. But I can't get all the protein I need from those. So I like to eat a small amount of chicken or a small amount of fish. As you said, we need to eat a little bit.
Well, one thing I have always done, even back in the days when I used to hunt for food, I don't mean putting a red coat on and going out on a horse chasing foxes. I mean, that's not hunting. That's piss taking. When I used to shoot rabbits and things, I always used to make sure the whole animal got used.
Yes. But yeah, you should. I mean, offal, the skin, everything needs to be used. If you're going to sacrifice an animal to eat, make sure you do it a service and use the whole animal.
Yeah.
We're not in again, we're going back to sort of old-fashioned times. I wouldn't eat a piece of liver when I was a child because I thought, ooh, it's horrible. And my mum could burn water. But as I've got older, I've learned to appreciate offal in a completely different way than I used to. And my partner would often say, if she's going to have pig to eat pork, she will eat everything except the oink. And I will.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's the way it should be.
I think it's a shame that people don't keep pigs the way they used to. And there's so many regulations now.
There are.
Because the best way to break in a piece of new land is to put pigs on it.
Yeah.
Put Jerusalem artichokes in and let the pigs get them out.
Yes.
Perfect way to break in new land.
Yeah. And as the children that plant them at the farm say, they call them fartichokes.
Yes. Oh, don't make me laugh in my cough.
As I said, we like to keep smiling, Jack. We like to have a good laugh when we're doing what we do.
Yeah, that's what I'm not sure of, and maybe you can fill me in on this.
I'll try.
I'm going to try and pick your brains on this.
Okay.
But how do we grow potatoes without digging?
Okay, so you need to give them a good amount of compost. Right, let me just get comfy. So what we do is we raise the bed quite high. We build the bed really high. and you pop your potatoes in the top, because the roots will spread from the bottom then. And then we can still go in and bank up with fresh compost. So we're not digging into the soil. And the roots just spread out. You don't get as much yield per plant, but you're still going to get a good kilo. A real good kilo of potatoes that way.
I've heard of people putting straw on. Does that help?
We've tried it. I just find it encourages mice, which then eat all the rest of the seeds that are about. So no, it's not something that I'd encourage to use. But everyone's different. It's just an opinion. You do what works best for you, really.
Yeah.
And trial and error.
Now, we've got a comment here. What's this?
We have. Paul said we all need healthy fats and cholesterol, and you can't get them from plants. The push towards plant-based diet is an NWO agenda.
Yeah, I'll go along with that, Paul.
Yeah.
I'll go along with that. I mean, I don't like to see animals suffer. And,
I don't think
I see animals suffer. But, you can dispatch an animal without it suffering.
Yeah, very true.
And you can do it, sustainably.
Yeah, very much so. And that's part of our ethos. So we always say we're ethical, traceable, sustainable. And I think if we could all stick to that sort of pretense, we'd be getting on a lot better.
Yeah. But I do think the Western diet team seems to be too focused on meat.
Yeah.
I mean, I eat a lot less meat than I used to, but I still eat a little.
Yeah, as we've said, you can't cut it out completely. It's choice, of course. But I think you get a lot of filling nutrients and tummy fillers from veg. The carbohydrates, etc. We all need these. So you starchy veg, such as your potatoes, etc. We grow celeriac, so I do lots of different things with celeriac. You can do everything with that you can do with a potato, which is really good. Cauliflowers are my favourite.
I love cauliflower.
Roast a cauliflower, it changes its taste completely.
Okay, so I've never tried roasting it. How do you roast it?
So cut the florets off, or you can chop your cauliflower into steaks, sort of big inch thick. Lay it on a baking sheet, little bit of oil, and you can pop some cumin seeds, maybe some salt and pepper. Pop it in the oven and just let it slowly roast until it goes all crispy around the outside and the stalks tender, and just eat it that way. It's delicious.
No, we've got a problem on our community garden because a large section of it, probably about half of it, is mostly in shade most of the day.
Okay.
What grows well in shade? Perennials, obviously, but
so the Cavolo Nero grows really well in shade, and some of your brassicas will. I would personally, get some starflower plants in there, some borage. So borage is a really good plant to utilize for all sorts of stuff. So it can be a fertilizer. It will bring the bees to the site because it's really good pollinating. You can use the stalks and the leaves and pop them in your gin and tonic, because every part of the plant is edible. It tastes like cucumber. So Paul's just popped a comment up there, Jack, that said factory farming is a problem, but we all need animal fats. Cholesterol causing heart problems is a myth created by pharmaceutical industry. I agree. Don't even get me started on the large pharma companies.
I agree, Paul. We need to get back to old-fashioned mixed farming.
Yeah.
Forget the factory farms. And factory farms, not just for meat, but factory farms for vegetables and wheat. Use monocultures. I lived in Spain for a long time, and there's acres and acres, well, not acres and acres, miles and miles of olives, just monoculture.
Yeah,
And you're bound to get problems if you do that.
of
And then
course.
you fight that problem by causing another problem, which is sticking chemicals on,
Yeah,
and you want to start a downward spiral.
of course. Will you be companion planting at your allotment?
Yes. Yeah.
There you go. You've
What would
made
you
Claire.
recommend? Marigolds?
Oh, marigolds are beautiful, and nasturtiums as well. Make
Yeah.
sure you've got plenty of those. Um, I'll send you. I've got a file, and it tells you what to plant next to what, Jack.
Oh, yes, please.
But I'm always there if you need some tips. If I don't know them, I've got them written down somewhere.
Thanks, Claire.
You're welcome.
I'm really putting you on the spot tonight, aren't I?
That's all right.
Really picking your brains because people need to know this stuff.
They do, very much so. One thing I like to do, I like to make sure that the people that visit us go away with something from us. So that could be a lesson, but mostly we do little bags of compost and pots and seeds for the children, and we give them to take home. And we say, right, get an old tin that beans came in, get daddy to pop some holes in the bottom or the sides, plant some carrots in there, plant some basil seeds or tomatoes. And we like the kids to go away and do all of that. And then they keep coming back. They start respecting what they're growing because they're eating it.
Absolutely. I mean, everybody can grow something, can't they?
Yes. Yeah.
Even if you've only got a little flat without even a window box, without even a window sill, you can still grow something.
Herbs and lettuce on a windowsill, kitchen windowsill, and chilies. That's all you need. And an old pot, and put some garlic in there. You can grow garlic in the kitchen as well.
Yeah. Oh, I do love the garlic.
Me too. So we grow garlic at the farm as well.
So, Claire, we're coming to the end of our hour.
Yeah.
How can people contact you?
You can go onto our website, which is bwgardens.co.uk. We've got a Facebook page. Bridge Community Farm on YouTube has got lots of videos on there of things that we've done in the past and people that are using our service. Facebook page, I've said, or you can just get in touch with me. Yeah, I've got microgreens and seeded sprouts growing in my hydroponics tunnel, Paul. You can grow them anywhere. Agreed. Just give me an email, and it's generalmanager@bwgardens.co.uk. Always there to help.
Send me the links. I'll put them all down below in the description.
Okay, all right, will do.
If you do that after the show, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So, any last thoughts?
No, it's just been a lovely hour of like-minded people talking about good things.
Yeah.
And let's just share it.
Yeah.
Let's share our knowledge. Let's share the love, and let's share the kindness.
Well, this video will stay up forever.
Good.
Not just for tonight, but it stays up forever, so people can come back and use it as a resource at any time.
Yeah.
What's Heidi said?
Heidi said, a world teeming with life within the very seeds that grow between us all. Namaste.
Absolutely, Heidi. Yeah, Heidi, poet, and she was on last week reading some of her poetry, and hopefully we can have her on again. Inspiring poetry.
Oh, good.
So yeah. So thank you very much, Claire. We've learned a lot from you tonight, and we hope to get you on again as well sometime.
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
And last comment before we go.
That's blessings to both and all of us from Heidi.
Thank you, Heidi. Thank you very much. Namaste.